Greetings dudes, it is I am the one and only Mighty the Armadillo here, and I'm Ray the Flying Squirrel here, and finally, I am the one and only Pac-Man here, and we are from the likes of the Maxi Toys videos, as always. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of the Simpsons Hit and Run for the Nintendo GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and PC. So, last time, we have essentially manage to able to, well, pretty much completed some of these story missions from the likes of in level 3. And as a result of that kind of stuff though, that it looks like that Mighty, he basically just felt a bit quite proud of himself, especially noticeable after the events of some unlucky moments during the forms of the level 3, but regardless of everything else though, he still managed to accomplish it regardless. So, yeah, today for this video is the fact that we'll hopefully try to able to 100% completely in terms of level 3, because it's pretty obvious just trying to able to collect the rest of the remaining collectibles, including the bonus mission, and on top of all that stuff though, with the forms of the street races here and there as well. So hopefully you won't be having that much unlucky issues there, unlike the forms of how it does it on the, you know what I mean, Friday the 13th day. But regardless of such though, we are on a new day, or to be more specifically, a new week. In this case though, 16th all the way up to 22nd of May. So I'm guessing it's such. So either way though, it looks like you're about to be going for the bonus mission first. Yeah, true.
Principal Skinner, Bart's missing.
Bart's gone? What a tragedy. To get your mind off this terrible loss, which we all feel, why don't you run a few errands, or as I call them, grief helpers for me?
But Bart's only missing.
Well, looking for that little monster, treasure, can't help anything. You might as well pick up Mother's dry cleaning for me.
Okay, so the bonus mission we have is the fact that we need to help Principal Skinner to complete the, well, let's just say the exams or something like that. Although, mind you, I haven't exactly paid attention to the actual text right here, so, yeah, anyways, let's go pop into the forms of that particular building as what it's shown on that particular icon, and if I somehow manage to able to pull off that little shortcut around here, so just in case I can able to actually instantly manage to able to skip this entire traffic and whatever, and also not to mention though about the fact that you could potentially try to able to, oh dang it, I somehow screwed this up, but that's okay because thankfully I got enough time, so hopefully I could potentially try to able to, screw this up. I spoke too soon on that one, but regardless of such though, like I said, hopefully I'm not going to able to come across into any unlucky situations for this point today, so yeah, I can totally understand why that you got very unlucky from that particular day and onwards, but luckily though we've gotten that day out of the way. So in this case though, today's day is of course the 16th of May today, in this case in 2022 today, specifically Monday. And there are some interesting things we'd like to discuss, and that is the fact that it might be something to do with the forms of how the fact that, well, recently, Fall Guys might able to actually get ourselves our new presentation events today. So we will try to watch it later on today, and then we'll discuss more details about that and during at some point until the next day. Or to be more specifically, like, well, I don't know what you would call it that, because either way though, relatively speaking, that at this point in time is the fact that for this week, along with the forms of how the fact that, well, relatively speaking, that hopefully that Maxi will be back on for more of the forms of Kirby and the Forgotten Land in the future. Although, before I get into more details about that, let's talk to this guy ever since in level 2, so that way we can pick up something, so that basically suggests.
I need Principal Skinner's dinner.
Here, do you want to try a new crusty ribwich?
I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, there's no meat in it, just paste and MSG.
Oh yeah, that was a line that was a reference to something related to when Lisa is vegetarian. So yeah, because I remember that clip from that episode where basically that Homer just somehow thinks he was trying to able to give a burger to Bart, but he somehow just goes like, "Here we go," and all that jazz, and then as a result, the burger just somehow landed on Lisa's face, and as a result though, she get really ticked off. Well, at least as far as what I've heard about it. Mind you, we haven't exactly watched that episode yet, but hopefully we'll get around into it on Disney+, so at the very least it's still accessible, so yeah, anyway, I'm very looking forward to see how the Fall Guys event is going to turn out, especially noticeable during the course of it later on today. So we're really hoping that we'll finally able to get ourselves the Switch release, or the Xbox release, but we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But if it does, we'll be very happy for it. So, yeah.
Dr. Nick, I'm here to pick up Principal Skinner's personal items.
Hi, little girl. Ah, you're so cute. Here's the principal's antifungal cream.
Ew.
Oh, and by the way, I do apologize for that particular background noise you'll be hearing, because I think these birds are actually singing, so, or whistling at the same time, so, yeah, I do apologize for that. So, and another thing we would like to explain about this while this is happening is the fact that, recently we actually got ourselves our brand new trailer for the sake of the films of My Little Pony, Make Your Mark, Netflix special. So because of this though, I'm very excited about this, especially noticeable after all that it's going to be in 3D animation, just like the forms of how it does it on the movie. But actually, I'll get to more details about that later.
There, we've got Mother's laundry, dinner for Edna and me, and some personal items. Now, if you can just help me find a place that carries Mother's favorite canned aspic.
This is ridiculous. I can't keep doing errands for you. I've got to find Bart.
For helping me with my ridiculous errands, I suppose I owe you something. If you need help recovering your brother's body, living body, give me a call.
Oh, those birds are really gonna interrupt us for that particular recording sessions, aren't they? So anyways, once you complete the bonus mission, you get yourselves the Principal Skinner's Sedan vehicle right there. So now we can able to actually drive around it. So yeah, but obviously that there's nothing we can do for the sake of the forms of that particular story-based missions, because obviously your next focus thing is, of course, the street races, of course. So hopefully I'm also able to bump into I would classify for saying the usual Millhouse along with Ralph and Nelson. So and you were still literally off by one wasp camera left, so hopefully you will try to find that at some point, but it might be pretty well hidden though these days, but relatively speaking, that's as far as we can able to imagine that. So oh yeah, after we're done with the forms of level 3, what I'm gonna do is that later on today, I'm actually gonna be heading back onto the previous level, so that I need to grind some more coins, and during at some point until whenever we reach to level 4, until maybe possibly tomorrow. Because yes, as far as you're probably already aware, is that most of those items, especially vehicles and clothing, are now gonna get much more expensive at this rate. So anyways, let's talk to Nelson here to do the circuit race. So, but before I do that, I need to grab some more coins, just in case until spending on some stuff until for later. So, anyways, let's begin this challenge.
Hi, Nelson. This is a surprise.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. I'll be your starting man for this mission.
Alright, so circuit race, here we go. So let's see how this is gonna brings out to be, and it looks like we have, oh, okay, so Nelson always just pulls off his tricks and all that jazz. So anyway, so now we're able to actually just to realize that we've now actually stumbled across, wait a second, is that car, that specific red car looks a bit familiar to you? I'm guessing it's more accurately, it's like it based off from the season 10 episode, which is involves around in Yellow Screaming, you know, featuring, you know, Marge Simpson. I'm not exactly sure what this episode is called, to be more specifically, because it's been about, you know, a couple of weeks ago since we actually last watched The Simpsons and all that jazz. So, either way, though, I do apologize if I somehow miscounted on that episode. So, yeah, it looks like that if you accidentally just take a shortcut just like that, well, this doesn't count. So, yeah, because you have to go all the way around the track rather than just try to take some shortcuts, because as far as I'm aware, that it might be a bit of a legal side of things if you try to pull this off. So, oh yeah, something's worth mentioning is the fact that that particular car right there, I believe Marge was inside there. So, could it be possibly about the fact that we can able to play as Marge Simpson during the course of in level 4? I suppose we should probably find out, ensuring at some point until tomorrow, because, well, relatively speaking, that, ooh, looks like you, my team, might able to actually get a very lucky start right there. Yeah, especially noticeable because it looks like that one of those drivers, well, except for this one right here, is actually gonna be, like, stuck and all that jazz, so I'm potentially gonna be pretty lucky right here. Although sometimes that this particular circuit race might be a bit difficult for some people, mainly because of the ending portion, because you have to, like, break in exact moment, because if you accidentally crash onto that particular corner bit, then chances are that you might lose the race instantly if you manage able to get crashed onto that specific point right there. So, it knows what it is for the most part, especially noticeable about the fact that you have to pay attention to the actual, the track layout, because otherwise you could have able to reverse a little bit, so just in case you'll be back on track for the actual racetrack itself. So, definitely a bit tricky though, especially noticeable if we get into the checkpoint race as well as the time trials. Well, thankfully for us though, the time trials might not be so bad, but as far as the forms of the checkpoint races, especially noticeable with the circuit races every nowadays, it's actually going to get a lot more harder this time, because since that you've already went through the easier side of things on level 1 and level 2, so relatively speaking it gets really tough these days. So it looks like I will win this for sure. So in this case though, let's reverse and finish the race.
I'm speechless, Lisa. That was better than you have any right to do.
Alright, so you got 2 more races to go for level 3. Oh, and by the way, I do apologize with the forms of that particular issue again, from the likes of the forms have been sent on Friday. That's also another one of those unlucky moments during that day, that somehow our commentary is out of sync again. So because of that though, hopefully this won't happen again for the sake of the forms of today. So because of that though, hopefully this won't be that much of an issue, I guess. So anyway, back into what you were saying about the forms of the My Little Pony Make Your Mark Netflix special. Oh yeah, about for the fact that, well, relatively speaking, for I've seen a trailer, it looks really good. Although, there are some downgrades compared to the forms of how it does it on the movie. Like, for example, with the forms, the textures as well as the art style looks a bit downgraded, but it looks okay for me. Especially noticeable because it's almost like exactly similar to the ones in the movie, except the fact that with all the lighting and everything, it's actually getting a little bit more of a downgrade, like we mentioned this earlier. So, yeah, you probably get the idea, but at least we're still looking forward to it though. I mean, after all, the characters look very accurate, just like the forms of how it does it on the movie, and at the same time though, it's just the fact that, well, we're just really hoping that this particular Netflix series, or even the entire special for that matter, it should able to make things a little bit more better, I think. So, yeah, I should probably think so as well. So either way though, let's grab some more coins, and to tackle for the next time trial mission. So, let's get into this. Although, before I do more details about that, let's go and spend all of our coins to purchase the nerd car, and then we'll start the race for real.
Millhouse, are you working here?
That's not so bad. I get a green cookie on St. Patrick's Day. It comes out of my paycheck.
Okay, so time trial, here we go. So, hopefully that this particular time trial will be easy as pie, I guess. Well, thankfully though, you don't need to worry about the forms of that particular road rage gauge, or to be more specifically, the hit and run gauge to be filled up. So, entirely for this point and onwards, that's going to be more accurate like a hit and run free kind of syndrome or something like that. So, yeah, you have to go around the track within 4 laps in particular, so just in case you might be familiar with the entire track and all that jazz. Oh, curses! That stupid little jump angle I somehow got screwed up right there. Well, I spoke too soon on this one though, kind of think about it. Although, mind you, Ray, is the fact that it might not be too hard, all things considered, but anyway, let's continue things on with that discussion about the My Little Pony Make Your Mark Netflix special. Like we said before, we're very excited about this, especially noticeable about the fact that, and on top of all that stuff though, it will be releasing in during the forms of the 26th of May, a day before the actual video game is going to be releasing, which is, you know, a Maritime Bay adventure. So, at the very least, that's something to behold. So, and also another thing as well is the fact that we recently watched the overview trailer for Mario Strikers Battle League Football in English version this time. So at the very least that there was something to be looking forward to, despite the fact that a lot of people complain about the forms of they are kind of worried about the game right now, to be more specifically with only 10 playable characters and all that jazz, which we're really hoping it will not do the actual godforsaken free DLC updates coming up, which as a result though, it might actually just manage to make a lot of customers a bit frustrated at points, but even then though, it has to be done, I guess, I'm afraid. Well, even though it's kind of hard to say, so. And also another thing we'd like to say is the fact that Alan Wake Remastered is definitely coming to the Nintendo Switch. So we don't know exactly when that specific remaster of the game that is about to be releasing on the Switch, but you know, you probably get the idea of how that's gonna turn out. And also another thing as well, Pokemon Home actually now finally supports more Pokemon games into Pokemon Home. Like, for instance, Pokemon Legends Arceus and Pokemon Diamond, Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl.
Atta girl, Lisa. This'll be noted on your permanent record.
Okay, only one more race to go, which is, of course, talking to Ralph, and that's pretty much about it, so. Well, aside from the fact that you're still missing some other collectibles, you know. Well, apart from the fact that I've already managed able to get one last vehicle on that particular shopping department, so. Yeah, because it looks like I, well, only got one vehicle left, so, yeah, and also one more street race, along with the collector card, and on top of all that stuff, though, one more Wasp camera, so, do you want to know where that is, though? Well, I'll figure this out for myself, I won't be able to actually, oh, wait a second, what was that Wasp camera that somehow managed able to get glitched up from the likes of the forms of that particular Krusty Studio bit? Oh yeah, that was the one that you actually somehow missed because, well, if you think you're about to able to try to hit it in time, but then unfortunately he just somehow got glitched up, so. Okay, so here's Ralph right there, but before I talk to Ralph, I need to go ahead and not only try to grind for some more of those coins in particular for later, but also we can able to actually get this godforsaken Wasp camera, but sometimes he easily get away, so yeah, that could be rather a nuisance as far as I can tell for this point, but I'm really hoping that he will come in, so yeah, because it usually doesn't show up at all, but if you try to get onto that specific spot, well, not just from here, but if you try to hop onto here, and then hopefully try to make your leaps of faith from up to the top there, and then if you keep on turning your camera around, there he is, right there. So, jeez, that almost scared me at first glance, because if it glitches again, then obviously I'm gonna have to able to reload the actual mission select. So, but thankfully, I somehow managed to found the final Wasp camera in level 3. So, good riddance. So, anyway, so another thing we want to explain, that is the fact that, well, relatively speaking as well, that, well, I've already mentioned about the forms of the Pokemon Home now actually supports, you know, 2 new games to be more specifically, so I guess that's that, because I've already mentioned about this earlier ago. But also another thing I would like to mention as well, that 505 Games Spring 2022 is hosting the actual showcase and during at some point, possibly tomorrow, which it managed able to say 17th of May, so hopefully we'll talk more details about that at some point soon. And on top of all that stuff though, we actually got ourselves the forms of some more details on certain Switch games might able to actually come in the future. Well, we'll talk more details about that if you managed able to try to find the last collector card, so yeah, that basically explains it, so alright, on to the last street race in level 3.
I need to work. Why are you working here? Daddy says I should stay here till I learn to control myself at the hardware store. Vroom, vroom. Right. I'll just start racing.
Okay, so here we go onto the checkpoint race. Now, as far as like I said before, that certain circuit races, especially noticeable for checkpoint races essentially, that it's gonna get a lot tougher, which as a result though, let's begin with the forms of probably is potentially one of the hardest street races in the whole entire game for most people. And this one appears to be level 3 checkpoint race. Now of course you will able to do the usual self-explanatory thing by simply able to actually just to go ahead and well, you know what I mean with all that, you know, going in the actual full lap, rather than just trying to able to go around the actual course like so many times. But here's the most trickiest part about this, the forms of that particular checkpoint race, is that the actual AI can sometimes manage able to become very damn good Now, on top of all that stuff, though, the Marge, the driver, of all things, that she somehow knows the actual layout from point A to point B. And as a result, though, this is definitely the hardest checkpoint race in the whole game, at least as far as what most people seem to always get frustrated with this particular race. And also, it doesn't help about the fact that, well, relatively speaking, that sometimes you have to go onto that specific boardwalk part in the beginning, and as a result, though, certain portions of those specific corners, especially noticeable with the track layout, always goes all over the place. Although, thankfully, as far as what Mighty just somehow managed to accomplish there, well, despite the fact that if you couldn't tell that this particular attempt, as far as the confusion of the forms of jump cuts later, this appears to be attempt number 20, because as far as I'm aware, Mighty did have a very rough time during the course of this particular checkpoint race, just because, holy macaroni, or to be more specifically, by caramba, that this particular checkpoint race is by far the hardest in the whole entire game, just because you have to do with so many difficult parts here and there. But thankfully for me, though, for attempt number, is it 21 or 20? I would say attempt number 20, so at least you failed about 19 times. But trust me, it's gonna get a lot tougher later on, so there he goes.
She must get her driving ability from her mother's side.
And there we go, you managed able to get yourselves a book-burning van. So, at the very least that's that, I guess. So, I suppose we should now move on to the final set of content for level 3. So hopefully we can able to move on to, well, level 4. Now, as far as I'm aware, I'm going to be taking charge for the sake of the forms of level 4. So, yeah, which is to be more specifically because, you know, we keep on switching things around. So, okay, so I'm thinking to myself about the fact that I know exactly where the last collector card is going to be located. In fact, let me just go ahead and drive backwards for a little bit, so just in case if there are some parts I'm missing. Although, mind you though, about the fact that it's always important to note that we always have to need able to keep an eye on the map, so just in case you clearly tell where you're about to be going. Although, you're going to be able to select the mission, so in this case you go for mission 4. Suffice to say, yes I am, because as far as I'm aware, that's the only destination we're about to be heading to, so... Oh, and by the way, I apologize for that another jump cut right there, because as far as I'm aware, in addition about the fact that sometimes that Mighty the Armadillo to sometimes manage able to wander off like nothing else, but it turns out that he accidentally managed able to switch over to the school bus off screen, but at the very least he knows exactly where the last collector card is. So as a result of that kind of stuff though, he knows exactly what he's doing. So basically I can see it with that particular shiny object right there. That actually represents the actual collector card is right over there. And also that he did manage to once again grind for some bit of coins, because obviously he managed to try to explore some portions of the entirety of you know, level 3 in general. Oh, and by the way, something's worth mentioning is the fact that certain collector cards might actually get a lot tougher to get this time around. Although, whenever we get to level 4 and onwards though, that it might actually get so aggravation when it comes to likely trying to get those, you know, collector cards on certain locations. Well, some of them are easy to get, whilst most of them, on the other hand though, it can be traumatizing, I suppose. So, anyway, so it looks like you somehow made it for this point right here. And hopefully, as soon as I'm able to try to make it for this point, there we go. So yeah, we basically accomplished everything in level 3. So, how's that for that? Yeah, especially noticeable, I felt incredibly proud for myself, as to be expected, like most any other Let's Players out there. And on top of all that stuff though, that you somehow managed to actually grind for even more coins here and there. So, there we go. 100% complete in terms of the forms of, well, like I said, level 3. So, yeah, at the very least, that's we almost at the halfway point in terms of the forms of the entirety of the Simpsons hit and run. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and save our game quickly, so just in case we don't want to lose any progressioning as far as this is concerned. And, yeah, that's pretty much about it. Oh yeah, before we end off the video, we need to have a look at the view cards before we end off this video. So let's start things off with the beginning. Angel Skeleton, and this is from Lisa the Sculptic, or Sculptic. I think that's what it's the name of the episode is originally from. Mind you, we haven't seen that episode yet. Bart's Soul, and this is from Bart Sells His Soul, and he sold to Millhouse for $5. Gee, no wonder why it's actually gonna get a little bit more cryptic there. Lisa Lionheart, and this appears to be like a doll or something like that. Lisa versus Howaboo Strictly, I think that's what it's at. Lisa's Valentine, and this is from I Love Lisa from that particular episode. Yeah, I guess that's that. And there's also Lisa's Machine, and this is from the PTA Disbands. I think that's what it's the name of the episode anyway. And next up we have is the Evil Braces, and this is from Last Exit to Springfield. So, yeah, I guess it's that. And finally we have Sawyer Pop, and this is from Lisa's Wedding. So, yeah, I guess I can probably explain about that particular cards itself. So, with that being said, folks, we'll pretty much have to guarantee we'll end things off at this point right here. So join us next time for more of Let's Play of The Simpsons Hit and Run. It's the fact that we are moving on to level 4, and it looks like that Pac-Man is going to be in charge of level 4, so that way he can able to take control of it. And also, he'll play as a different character too. So we'll see you guys until tomorrow. Later, fellas. See you guys then.